Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to this video shoot. I'm here with my friend and Vice President of Egoscue, Brian Bradley. Brian and I go back numerous years and have been working together, helping people stay fit and functional and have integrity with their posture, which is the underlying key to both of those, fit and strong. So I've asked Brian to join us, tell us a little bit more about Egoscue and what it is, and then show us a few, well, tell us about Egoscue, but how it can improve your fitness and your workouts, and then show us a few exercises. So I'm going to pass this over to Brian. Brian, welcome to the Train for Longevity group.
Thanks, bud. I'm a little nervous. You're just going to hand me off and twist me up, twist me, and let me go. You did it, not me.
Yeah, I know you can handle it.
Yep. Well, listen, it's a, I know a lot of people on here probably heard about the Egoscue Method before. A lot of people probably haven't. It's a method created by a gentleman named Pete Egoscue out of necessity, out of him actually coming into play with, excuse me, I'm going to put this on Do Not Disturb like you taught me. Good, good. Out of necessity coming out of the Vietnam War. Way back in 1971, we say the method was born then when Pete Egoscue picked up Gray's Anatomy and said, maybe the body works this way. What if it's up to me to try to help myself? Because the physician, doing his or her job correctly, said, we believe that not only is this physical, but we believe there could be a mental aspect to it also, which PTSD we know is real, blah, 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 blah. But to a Marine, he was like, unacceptable.
Yeah.
Gets a little angry, goes and picks up some stuff, and over the next 1971 on, and I hooked up with him in 91 and never looked back, because the method is based on giving people the chance to live pain-free. Now, think about that. Do you deserve to live pain-free? You know, I know you have a lot of athletic people on here, so I'll show you my 58-year-old athletic Ironman triathlete. Does this guy deserve to live pain-free? Well, yes, he does, but he doesn't know how to get there. Let alone, how do I bike, swim, and run the way that I'm supposed to? Well, you got to get your body out of that position.
Right. He's really kyphotic, right?
Yeah, it looks like he overdosed on no acetol. I'll let the crowd sit with that one for a little bit. Okay. But that no butt, posterior tilt, sway back forward, creates this forward pelvic motion where the psoas then becomes short, tight, weak, and we blame it on a tight psoas when it's really the bony position that needs to come back underneath them.
Yeah.
The kyphosis, the rounding of the shoulders there, as a adaptive compensation. Versus same guy, this is not a joke, which is why I don't market this. Thank God for the tattoo. Same guy, 12 minutes of exercises later, wow. A 38 total minute appointment, and he's now getting his personal best, but he doesn't even look like the same guy.
No, he doesn't. He even looks younger. I mean, if that makes any sense.
Well, I put it on my Instagram a while ago and said, father and son. Meanwhile, it was the same person. So ideally, thank God some beauty just entered the room.
Thank you. Yes.
But, you know, ideally you have your listeners who are saying, well, my case is different. I'm a high-level runner. I'm a person who's fasting. I'm a person who's doing bulletproof coffee. I'm a person who's trying to eat healthy. I'm a person who's doing all these hacks. And yet when they go out and try to move, I'm going to show you this foot position picture that just blows my mind. This was a commercial. Somebody didn't see that wasn't normal.
Wow. Yeah.
That was a commercial on television going, you can achieve more. You should do more. Look at the vascularity in his legs. The guy has soleus and gastroc buildup, but that ankle is under such stress because imagine the guy that I showed you with no butt before, that might be what his ankle's doing when it collapses in. Mm-hmm. Somebody's going to say, well, let's just put something in here to force the ankle to do this. But now you have opposing forces playing tug of war going, who wins? And who wins is going to be the meniscus tear, the ACL, the degenerative knee, all that stuff.
Exactly. That's so powerful. I mean, because right, those structures are going to give away, especially under that sort of stress. They're soft tissues, right? They're not bones. So the bone's not going to break. The soft tissues are going to give, the ligament, cartilage, tendon, for sure. Great point.
Well, but the cool part of this is that I'm going to show you guys, and it's Train for Longevity. This is the deal we made. I said, look, if I'm going to come on here, you better allow me to give something away for free, which that took some twisting. Didn't take any twisting at all. Of course they want that. But for you guys that are members of this, just what I've learned talking to Mark and hanging out and seeing what you guys are all about, which now I'm going to become part of it, of course. It's the idea of going, as we get older, at 52 years young, that's honestly how I feel. Bigger, faster, stronger than maybe I was when I played rugby, football, mountain biked, all that stuff. Because look, I've done all the stuff that almost kills us. This was when we were fully sponsored with McDonald's, Xerox, racing at all the big mountains doing this. This was our first year doing it on these $10,000 bikes that we didn't pay for. Hey, what a great sponsorship, right?
Yeah.
Until you hit a tree at 60 miles an hour and you cartwheel down a 400-foot ravine and you go, maybe my body is trying to tell me something now. And you avulse your ACL out of your knee, off the tibia. You blood clot your perineal. You tear the labrum in your left hip. You degenerate your right hip. You tear your ACL twice now on mountain biking in that same knee, and you separate your shoulder, you dislocate your shoulder, your bulging disc and a herniated disc. At some point you go, maybe I should switch over to table tennis because it's a lot safer.
Right. I had no idea that you were doing that. I know you are a table tennis pro, but I didn't know you came from the likes of mountain biking.
Yeah. And you know what it was is when my son was first born too, I was taking so much time away from the family to go to Bryan Head, to Deer Valley, to do this. I won the nationals in Deer Valley by 12 seconds on a downhill race, which is 5 minutes and 15 seconds long. They thought that I cut the course. And I said, because I was normally taking 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th place. And I'm like, I'm so pissed. I go and talk to Pete Egoscue and he's like, dude, you've become a biker. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, you train on your bike all the time. I said, yeah, I'm trying to get better on it. He said, get off the bike, only do it on weekends, and train. And that's when I started doing a little bit more on our obstacle coursing, bear crawling, handstands, and whole body work. Came back a month later and won by 12 seconds. I only tell you that because I was complaining with one of my other guys that we were not winning the way that we should when we knew we trained harder than anybody else. So at what point do you insanely train, which is what my NFL guys are doing,
yeah,
right? Even around the NFL. Somebody like a quarterback I'm working with out of Jacksonville, Gardner Minshew. The kid's a beast. The kid's a beast because he truly gets it. The Conor McGregors of the world, when I get him 12 days out of the cowboy fight, hey, Tony Robbins says, can you take a look at him? I'm like, yeah, because this guy went into this fight with such an unfair advantage, absolutely unfair. And when I explained it to him that way and said, the only reason why you lost that Habib fight was because your upper back and shoulder were not allowing you to generate power from your hip. And he instantly got it. It was not my fault. And there's a way to fix it. Because I can't just be the guy that says, you have this going on and then leave the room. You got to give solutions.
Yeah.
So what do you think that's, what's a big subject you've heard from Train for Longevity that's a big subject for them to want to talk about?
I think it's just, a lot of guys our age who have played sports and women who have been, played sports, fitness professionals, and we all have achy body parts, right? And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, shoulders a lot because, they're very mobile. With mobility comes instability. And so it's easy to hurt them benching, doing, whatever we've done. I mean, I've got both shoulders, but, and so I think that's a common sort of overuse, degenerative wear and tear on our joints.
Let's just talk about a push-up challenge that's going around Instagram, right? Can you do 50 push-ups? I can do 50. Do I have a month to get them done? Can I get them done in a month? Can I be cumulative, like maybe 2 a day? But in reality, people are going, if you can do 50, you're an athlete.
Yeah.
But if you take your body that's here and rotated and then go in and try to do 50 push-ups, you're actually stressing out down the chain where the pelvis sits in, and you could be creating a rotational force at L5S1 that's now creating a degenerative force, and you herniated disc, and then you're putting all the stress on the physical therapist, the chiropractor, and everybody else to help you. Rather than do your part, just do a little bit of work and you can reverse it.
Right. And then what I've seen, you've probably seen this too, you get that low back, that disc, that sciatica, that nerve that's going down the leg. You know, that's a sensory and motor nerve. You don't just feel it tingling. It's also affecting how your quads and your hamstring, your peroneus, and your tibialis are firing or not firing. So you're wearing out, you know, distal joints as well that you never heard, that are all related to your back being out from push-ups. How's that happen? Just like that.
And let's just say that most of the gentlemen that are on here trained for longevity would all like to look better without their shirt on. Right? We're at that age where we're going, kind of got to work for it a little bit. Testosterone levels might be off, or I'm eating pizza and I shouldn't be. Change your mindset about the pizza. It'll help you a little bit easier and your body will digest it better. Yeah. But ideally, if you want to move your quote fat, how about you move your body so your lymphatic system starts to do its job? So help your plumbing system by getting that ankle and knee and hip and shoulder. So for example,
the artwork's coming out now. Look out.
Yeah. And this is an original signed. It's signed, so we can auction that off and give it to somebody. But if you look at this and you say the ankle, the knee, the hip, the shoulder, and the ear being vertically aligned, I didn't make that up. That's in every book known to man. Pelvic tilt being neutral. Well, most people look like this, where the head is forward, the back is rounded, the pelvis is forward, and then here's the ankle again. But this is the guy that I just showed you. His pelvis is bailed out from under him, which then puts a lengthening tension on the psoas. And again, we blame it for being tight, short, and weak. Rather than saying, why is it tight, short, weak? We lay on something that presses in here, or we stretch it, which you can't stretch a muscle anyway, so stop it. Because flexibility training is a complete waste of your time. If your joints are chronically out of alignment, you're going to wake up tight the next day. Stop rolling your fascia if you're going to allow your body to stay out of alignment, or you're still rolling the next day on the same stuff. It's the definition of insanity. So why don't we do this? Why don't we get rid of this adaptation compensation right here? That's only a leverage point. All it is physics saying, if this is where my body should be, this bailed forward and became a little less inhibited, or less facilitated, more inhibited, like not working. And then the upper body goes back like this. And now the body says, I'm accommodating gravity perfectly. I'm actually balanced. Well, that's why the body looking in any way, you're balanced, but you're bringing a dysfunctional movement pattern to a sport. Can you imagine? Well, that's what we had with this. You know, that kyphosis picture, right? But this is a big one on a young female, because everybody has kids that's listening to this. That's an elite level soccer player.
Wow.
When can I get her in for stem cells? We might as well start now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That rotation, which is something your people could do now. They could go to a mirror, take their pants off, make sure it's their house, stand up in front of that mirror and look and go, my feet are turned out like this, but my knee is actually turned inward of that. Well, that means your knee joint's actually sitting like that.
And in a female soccer player, you know what's coming after that, right? ACL.
Yeah, and then somebody's going to go, well, you know, sweetheart, it's your pelvis, it's the Q angle.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, come on. If it's the Q angle, then why isn't it every female? Right. Quit blaming the ACL. The ACL should go like the way it did on me. Smack into a tree, flex your knee so hard when you land that it tears the ACL. And then when you land on it straight, it locks back and we tear the rest of it. Like, if you're going to do it right. Don't let it be a cumulative stress.
Right.
Yeah. So I want to show you a video before I take you outside. This is a 14-year-old soccer team who I tricked my son, who's on this team, when he's 18 now. I tricked him and look at their little builds at the age of 14 versus his. Look at his back muscles compared to the other kids.
Yeah, man. Well defined.
Zero weightlifting. His nutrition was horrible. But I got him to move and go to playgrounds and play for hours. Like literally he would say to me, Dad, don't we have to go home? And I said, no, we don't. Let's play forever. You can do whatever you want. In fact, we'll go to McDeath after this and have a cheeseburger if you want. And he's like, okay. And then he'd go there and get a stomach ache. So I got him off McDonald's early.
Yeah.
But this is that same frame running a 200-meter run. That's him in the back in the white shirt on the inside lane. 200 meters.
He is just smoking. Just looks like a pro compared to everybody else.
This was right before I brought him to you when we went through that stuff, because at one of his practices, you know, got kicked, came down, bruised his femoral condyle, and that's when we did some of the procedures that you do.
Yeah.
So look, our goal is to get you out of here. Get you out of here. So I'll lay this out there for anybody who's listening. My travel schedule's changed. My big 16,000 person events won't start up for a little bit. I have the time, and so does my staff. So let me put it out there that I can't say everybody, because I know you guys have thousands of people. But if we put it out there that if you contact me and you say, hey, Brian, I want you to take a look at me, or hey, what do you think about my meniscus? My first answer back to you is, when can you get on Zoom so I can take a look at you? I don't want to have the discussion via email. I'm not interested.
Right.
Because that's me just guessing. You show me what you look like, big difference, even if it's just pictures. And, you know, you guys can email me, bbradley@Egoscue. I'll get you all that stuff. But Mark, I can't stress enough how the accessibility that people have to us now to be able to do this, and how I'm changing business models. Luckily, we had an online version for 30 years.
Yeah.
But it's really, 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 really connected us to a lot of people. Even this, you know, it's just a lot easier.
And, you know, I got an Egoscue 20 minutes from my house, but, you know, everybody's always so busy. I sent him pictures, got on Skype. It's been a while, and I got what I need, and it's been great. And we've done some modifications. And so this approach works seamlessly. And I do these things every single day I don't miss a day, because this jacks up my neck and my back. And so I've got to keep that thoracic spine working right. Otherwise, I'm done.
Well, and one of the things I'll show you is a quick reset or interrupt to everybody who's on this call who's now kind of sitting around doing something.
Yeah.
Maybe we can do I'll take you out to my garage, which my kid's car's parked in there, so you got to get over that, right? And I'll try to get the quote studio set up as nicely as possible.
All right.
Game changer when we can start moving. You want to do that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, let me take you out.
I'm going to talk a little bit, because I think, you know, that picture, that beautiful rendering you've done there, you know, it drives the point home that, and I always used to say this when I was in practice. I mean, if you've got axial forces that are not really any forces, but, you know, in this instance, axial vertical forces that are not well aligned, and then you add to that, whether it's, you know, overhead press or even running or jogging. I mean, like I would tell people, like, it's like hitting a bent nail. Do you expect it to get straighter or more crooked? And, you know, it gets more crooked. And then, as you showed, that you get that, and you rounded shoulders, and then you get rotator cuff tear and wear and other things.
You do. And it's not even our fault, because we don't really know what we don't know.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
So let me start with just a simple exercise, kneeling. Okay, so we would be kneeling just like this. And for those of you that we were talking about, we were kind of talking about a person that was kind of like this, like here and here.
Right.
Now, a lot of people go, well, that's not me. Send me some pictures. I'll tell you that it's you. In some way, it's you. I promise you.
Yeah.
My job is to get you now to look at it this way and go, how do we get you out of this? Let's just kneel you down for one thing. Now your pelvis can't go forward because the tissues won't allow it, because the foot's out of it. The knee won't bend anymore. So if we just start there, and then put our hands kind of in an open fist position against our temples, and then close it, open it, try to touch them behind you, just like this, around 25 times. Just keep going. Everybody should be doing this unless they're driving. Don't do it. Good. Keep those thumbs pointed straight down. Your goal is to bring it, close it, and then glide it open. And think about what's happening. The shoulder blade now is learning this motion.
Right.
That pseudo joint between the rib cage and the scapula is now going, dude, awesome. Starting to move like melted butter versus going, something that's been sitting in the sink for a while.
Yeah, right. And that's part of the shoulder complex. If it doesn't move, you get, again, wear and tear at the glenohumeral joint and rotator cuff.
And if it doesn't work, then you can bet your butt that the clavicle's not rotating the way that it should.
Exactly. Right. This thing is a strut, man, and it's all connected.
Well, after about 30 of those, 25 of those, they can stand up and walk around. And at that moment right there, something is different. Don't go, do I feel better? Is your pain level different? Hey, I stood up easier. My foot pain, it could be worse. Okay, well, maybe because we're stripping away part of your adaptation, now your pelvis went bleh and kind of just let go. You want to talk about a way to let the psoas go. Get rid of the psoas tightness by changing your upper back position. But it's got to be an organic change, not a, hey, let's lay on a physio ball and let it change spinally that way. So that's the next exercise I'm going to show you is what I use as a quick interrupt. If somebody came off the field at a game, one of my guys that we have in the NFL as a functional performance coach, he would say, you just got your bell rung, not a concussion, but you're kind of like, oh, something's not right. We would put him in a position like this right away, and the kid would go, bro, I'm back. Let's go. Or if you're a golfer and boom, I'm hitting kind of crappy, get into these two exercises and your golf's going to be completely different. Mm-hmm. So think about it from this standpoint where you go, you're on your hands and knees in a cat dog position, just like this. Thank God I have a good floor in here, right? So you're here like this. Move it forward one hand length. Move your torso forward so my shoulders are right above my wrists. Number one, drop my head, which puts all the cervical spine and thoracic spine on a little bit of traction.
Right.
Elongates that big tight trap muscle, and then bring your shoulder blades together, and then let your stomach go. Now you're sitting in this position doing nothing with my hips slightly forward of my knees. And I'm going to stay here, relaxing my legs, shoulder blades together, head down is the key. And that in turn allows the psoas to kick back on because of the actual forward tilt.
Interesting.
Hold it for 2 minutes, and I dare you to feel like crap after that. And again, it may not last forever, but it's going to last long enough for someone to go, hey, maybe, just maybe, I don't really have a problem per se. I have pain that's just an actual symptom instead. So that's the key. Hold on here. I got to walk you back to my office.
Yeah, that's great. Like you said, getting your bell rung is not necessarily always just a concussion. I mean, we've all had it, whether, we've lifted too hard, lifted something wrong, anything really, bike crash. I mean, I've gone down the side of mountains before. I mean, the neuromuscular connection is just so, right, interacted. The nervous system into the muscles, into the joints, it's all connected.
The same brain 5 minutes after a better position, meaning the thoracic spine and cervical spine were moved to a better position. Look at the cerebral spinal fluid build up here versus here.
Yeah.
It's not that the brain swells. I think I have a different theory, and I'm probably completely wrong, but that's been once or twice in my life. Let me make sure nobody heard that in my house. Okay, nobody's coming running.
Tens of thousands of people just.
That's correct. But maybe it's not the brain swelling. Maybe it's the buildup of cerebral spinal fluid that's now caught at the cranium, and now it's pushing back downward on the brain, which gives us the illusion that it's a swelling brain.
And you mentioned lymph, right? lymph. Now, cerebrospinal fluid's different, but I think, I think you have a good concept here that maybe it's just congestion because things aren't moving.
That's correct.
Right? It's just there's, the CSF and going from the brain to the cervical spine. It's not going through a manhole this big, right? It's going through a narrow passage. And if your posture's jacked and you said the word, and I love it, adaptation, if you've adapted incorrectly, you can cope for a while, but you can't cope for much, for long.
No, cope is like hope. Neither one of those are strategies.
Yeah.
There's a big hole in the middle of both of them. It's got to be belief. It's got to be I can get myself out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm speaking to our age group because guys over time, we want to get our youth and do this and all that stuff. That's great. I mean, the workouts that we're doing, I took my son to the park the other day. He's a D1 soccer player and he's like, so do you want to train a little bit? And I'm like, yeah, this is what COVID-19's done. It's given me time with my kid that we can do some stuff together. Great. Here's him throwing the tornado ball. Okay? 160 pounds of twisted steel. No, I'm just saying because he might listen to this. Right? So we do it on both sides. I'm teaching him that soccer is an upper body sport, meaning you got to fight people off, especially as a defender, but I'm never going to ask him to do something that I can't do better. And so I'm just like, get angry, move this. Then we moved into some of the Viper. Very simple lateral movements, hold, pick it up, drop it to the other side. Lateral movement again, sink into your left hip now, or right hip, whatever that is. But as a soccer player, if you can't lean into one hip and can't lean into the other because you've had ACL or the other stuff, and you know what he had, right? So now he's trained himself out of it. The best thing that ever happened to him was the condyle bruise. Because for him, it was, my dad said, I'm not getting back on the field until I can easily do the UCLA return to protocol ACL test to get on the field.
Yeah, right. And grateful he had someone like you who knew what to do, and he was willing to listen because he had the desire to get out there again.
You mind if I bring him in here so he can hear that, or is it?
I'll send you the recording. He can play it. We can loop it.
I'll play it while he's sleeping. He might sink in. No, you know how these kids are.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's been good. We've had some good stuff go on. But listen, I'll put it out there that people that train for longevity, just hear this. You're bothering me if I don't hear from you, because we're one of those companies that just says, at least we can point you toward the pain-free book at the very least.
Right.
And if it's not something you're looking for, if you said, look, I don't want to get into all this coaching with Brian, or I'd like to go deep. Look, I have people who I've been working with for 10 years who are adding zeros to their bank accounts in the NFL going, let's go. I don't care what it costs me because what I'm making is 100 times different. I mean, John Lynch played for 15 years, Pro Bowl 13 or 12 or 11 or something like that, and shows no signs up here. The guy's the 10th hardest hitter in the NFL. That's what we're doing. And I literally am on a mission, and so is Pete and the rest of our team. It's like an infection. And I hate to use that. Damn it. Why did I use that right now? I'm so sorry.
It's top of mind.
I didn't say infected. I said an infection, like my arm got infected. But while we're on that, what about lung tissue? Yeah. Very important. If you're in any way kyphotic and your pelvis isn't your mover, then you're breathing north and south versus being that East Coast diaphragmatic breather where it's going east and west and creating that, and if you don't trigger your diaphragm, you're already 40% inefficient breathing. And then you get COVID-19. Come on.
Yeah, I was watching some of the lung therapy that they're doing is abdominal breathing and teaching people how to breathe correctly to, overcome some of these acute respiratory diseases that we're starting to see nowadays. Well, awesome, Brian. That's great. I can't really recommend this enough because, we all want to move, well as we get older. We all want our pain and joints to not hurt so we can remain active. Nothing's worse than having shoulder problems and you can't even do a simple push-up, or you can't do stuff. And I know, you know, I do it for the fitness, but at least 51% of the time I do it for my mood. And, you know, if I can't work out, it's not a pretty thing.
No, no, no. Daddy's unhappy, and then everybody's unhappy. But remember, there's two places you can go. You can go to egoscue.com/digital and just fill out the information. I'll get it. My people will get it. Just mention, you know, the website, mention what you guys are coming from, Train for Longevity. I'm part of the group. Brian mentioned that I could get looked at, blah, blah, blah. Or I'll give you this. You guys can go to my Instagram, the Brian Bradley. And you and I talked about this before, Mark. I only chose the Brian Bradley, not because I'm a narcissistic prick. It's Brian Bradley was taken by the hockey player at the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it's the only one I have. Plus there's at Egoscue Method, which is right here. You know, the method, Egoscue Method. Guys, there's great content on there. There's a great way to connect through the DMs, and even on the Facebook, the Brian Bradley. And look,
She doesn't know I'm doing anything.
Doesn't matter. I love, this is authentic, dude.
Yes,
This is what we need to get used to versus going, I'm in a meeting, everything's gonna be perfect. No, this has been a very good thing for us as it relates to a world. I know it's horrible, but there are some good things that are coming out of this.
I agree.
Maybe people won't be so hyper and sensitive. So hit us up. I'm glad to be part of this. You, if you want to come back and talk about a secondary topic, get a hold of Mark where we can say, look, if you want to talk specifically about knees or a functional abdominal progression, game changer. I mean, that kind of stuff is always fun for me.
Good. I'm going to take you up on that. Please do give us some feedback. Let us know what you'd like us to come back and talk to Brian about.
One more thing. All of these guys have kids or they have grandkids. Let's do a worldwide physical education class for them. I'll run it.
Yeah, you mentioned that to me the other day. Let's talk about that offline here. All right, Brian Bradley, the Egoscue Method. Huh?
I didn't hear a no.
No, you did not hear a no. Brian Bradley, the Egoscue Method. Thank you so much. Great stuff. Improve your posture, improve your life.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Thank you so much.